In this market analysis, we'll explore why owning just zero point 0.1 Bitcoin could be one of the smartest moves you ever make.
Every day for the past 4.5 years, I get up and I say, buy Bitcoin, and then you do not sell your Bitcoin.
Is it too late? No. But you don't have long. If not, you're going to buy prices where you're likely at some point to be feeling stupid that you bought them here. These are still good prices, but don't wait too much longer. Just get in.
Bitcoin 1 year from now, I think is something around 250.
Gold used to be the ultimate symbol of wealth, but today a new contender is rising. Digital, scarce, and limited to just 21 million units. And owning a mere 0.1 of it could put you in the top 2% of the world. Many think a whole Bitcoin is out of reach, so they ignore it. One full Bitcoin isn't the starting line, it's the finish line. Even a fraction, 0.1, could set you apart from billions. Here's the math. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Split each into 10 pieces, and that's 210 million slices of 0.1 Bitcoin. It seems like a lot until you realize there are over 8 billion people alive today. Even if just 2.5% tried to own 0.1 Bitcoin, there wouldn't be enough to go around. Now consider the 120 million millionaires. If each wanted a full Bitcoin, or even 0.1, the supply still wouldn't meet demand. And that's before counting companies, institutions, or governments. Holding 0.1 Bitcoin isn't just a fraction, it's a seat at a table most will never reach. Less than 3% of the world holds any Bitcoin, similar to the internet in 1995 before Google or smartphones. People often dismiss Bitcoin as a gamble, but history shows adoption follows an S-curve. First pioneers, then early adopters, then the masses. Right now, we're in the early adopter phase, but the supply is nearly gone. Over 94% of all Bitcoins are mined, and a significant portion is lost forever. That makes the actual circulating supply much smaller, while long-term holders lock away more. Demand is accelerating. Individuals came first, then institutions, soon governments. When that wave hits fully, there won't be enough Bitcoin to meet it. Fixed supply plus rising demand equals one predictable outcome: higher prices. That's why being early matters. Once the world catches on, even 0.1 Bitcoin will be highly competitive. To see why Bitcoin matters, understand what it replaces. Dollars, euros, yen, they're built to lose value over time. Central banks target inflation, slowly shrinking your money's purchasing power. Governments spend more than they earn, borrowing or printing money to cover deficits, wars, or bailouts. Over the last 50 years, the US dollar has lost over 85% of its value. Other fiat currencies collapse even faster. Bitcoin flips the script. Its supply is capped at 21 million coins, and it can't be inflated or manipulated. Think of fiat like a leaking bucket, always draining. Bitcoin is a sealed vault. Once you store value there, it holds. Gold was trusted for centuries, scarce, durable, and hard to produce. But gold moves slowly, is expensive to store, and difficult to use digitally. Bitcoin takes gold's core strength, scarcity, and adds speed, portability, and programmability. Millions in Bitcoin fit on something smaller than a USB drive. You can send it globally in minutes, divide it into 100 million units, and its issuance schedule is mathematically fixed. Gold supply grows by about 1.5% yearly. Bitcoin's supply shrinks over time with each halving. By 2032, new issuance will nearly reach zero. Predictable math, not central banks, drives its value. Already the 7th most valuable asset on Earth, Bitcoin reached that in just 16 years. Imagine where it could be in a decade as institutions, nation-states, and individuals shift away from printed money. Bitcoin isn't just replacing gold, it's evolving past it. In a digital economy, value doesn't need to shine, it needs to scale. Even 0.1 Bitcoin might seem small, but in a system with finite supply and global demand, fractions are everything. Around 19.88 million Bitcoins exist, but up to 30% may be lost forever. That leaves roughly 14 to 16 million coins in circulation. These are split into slices, traded, and stored, becoming harder to claim over time. Owning even 0.1 is like securing a small plot of prime digital land. Bitcoin started as internet money for nerds and idealists. Then everyday users came for inflation protection or to escape failing currencies. Then institutions arrived with spreadsheets and conviction, moving billions strategically. Now governments are entering, not with headlines, but real strategic moves. Some mining, some adding to reserves, some refusing to sell. Central banks are diversifying, reducing exposure to traditional assets and increasing gold and Bitcoin holdings. Why? In 2022, over $30 billion in Russian assets were frozen. Neutral money isn't neutral anymore. Bitcoin can't be seized, frozen, or diluted by foreign debt or war. It exists purely by code, not politics. In an era of economic and geopolitical tension, it's more than an asset. It's a shield. Think of it like a global game of musical chairs. There are 210 million seats and billions of players. Every day more people enter, some casual, some serious, some governments. The music keeps playing, and most think they have time. But when the tempo rises, pension funds, ETF, the circle tightens. Seats won't multiply. Once they're gone, there's no second chance. Timing matters more than size. Even tiny fractions, 0.01 or 0.001 Bitcoin, will gain meaning as supply tightens and demand surges. Wealth isn't just about how much money you have. It's about seeing the opportunity early. Those who bought Amazon in the 90s didn't need to be rich. They just acted before everyone else. Bitcoin is finite. Once distributed, it's done. Block by block, second by second, the game continues. You don't need a full Bitcoin. You don't need to risk everything. You just need a seat before it's too late. When ownership becomes a privilege instead of a choice, even 0.1 Bitcoin may feel like a fortune. Wish someone taught you Bitcoin earlier? Now's your chance to do better for your kids or young family. This teen ebook is perfect. Link in the description.